Let's see. Hey everyone, how are you tonight? Somebody is eating. Yeah, somebody's got a mouthful caught right at 6:30 with a mouthful of Chex Mix. You got to show them the Chex Mix. Come on, hand it over. Okay. What else is everybody eating out there today? Got to have our snacks before dinner time. Everybody pop on.
That was going to be my snack earlier today. I was out running around.
Yep.
Looking at some homes, doing some inspections and stuff, talking to sales consultants, all the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff. Everybody pop on and tell us where you're viewing from and what you're up to tonight. What are you snacking on tonight? You know what we're snacking on.
Well,
yeah, let's tree. Okay, we have a question. Are you ready for this? All right. What would actually fix the housing market? Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to have a poll to go through what would actually fix the housing market.
Because we're all experts, we're going to know exactly what the answer is.
You know, we're all entitled to an opinion.
Okay.
By the way, welcome to Tuesday night, our weekly edition of What the Heck's Going On in the Housing Market. What the heck's going on in the housing market? And if you couldn't read the banner, I'm Wendy and this is Dale. We are the Pinnells. We're with On Track Realty Home in Dallas. Glad to see you guys tonight. Pop on here and tell us what you're sipping, what you're up to tonight, how you're doing. And by the way, the whole time that we are talking, boom, another banner. Feel free to leave your questions in the chat. We'd love to talk new construction, housing market, all kinds of good stuff. We definitely work within the pre-owned sphere as well. So this is Dallas. Yep. So all kinds of both the pre-owned and the new. All right. So question for you guys. Okay. You ready for this? All right. Let's put this up here. Okay. What would actually fix the housing market? I'm going to have this going all night. So you guys have to think about this. Okay. Would lower mortgage rates do it? Okay. If so, then I want you to put A in the comments. Come on, guys, chime in. Tell us. Oh, hello. Look who's here.
Hello,
Purple Drink. How are you? What do you think? What would actually fix the housing market? Okay. Our first choice is lower mortgage rates. All right. Let's see what our second choice is here. More homes being built. I think a lot of people feel like that's the big solution. They really do. They'll talk about supply. Now, I think
here we have quite a bit of supply.
We really do.
Nationally, it's not as much so, but yeah.
Well, and the big problem with the supply that we have is it's not necessarily affordable supply. And so that's where we get a problem is we get a lot of supply, but not affordable supply for really kind of the base population of it doesn't line up.
You have to be careful how you force affordability.
That's true. That's absolutely a great point. All right. C. Ooh, this is a good one.
That could be helpful.
This could be very helpful. What do you guys think?
People in Texas representatives and such that they would like to completely remove property taxes. That would be kind of nice.
It is true, you guys.
I think it's a great idea. We just have to get other entities and such involved in the state and how to pay for things. But yeah.
Yeah, there is a real big push. There's a housing representative in Ellis County who is pushing it.
There's a few.
Are there more than one?
But there's definitely one.
Yeah, who are really pushing hard to get rid of property taxes altogether in Texas. So I don't even know if people really have the optimism that they think that could happen, but they are. Okay, let's see here. John Doe is checking in. Hello, John. How are you?
John Doe.
Hello from
Michigan.
Woo, you are a long ways away. You're a long way away from Dallas. So hello from Michigan. Well, hello. And then we got Purple Doe. That's a tough one. But since I wouldn't have to pay property taxes, I'm saying A. You know, that's a good point. There are certain people that just are not going to have to pay it at all.
Sure.
Your disabled vets are the ones that I know of for sure that don't. All right, let me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get in because we weren't quite done. Let's give Purple Drink a turn to see all the options. Okay. So A, lower mortgage rates. B, more homes being built. C, lower property taxes and fees. D, oh, this is a good one. These are all really good choices. Restricting investors and foreign buyers.
It's a hard one because you don't want to remove a free market. You don't want to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And being an investor,
it's true.
You don't. Yeah, it's hard to. I do kind of not like so much the large company investor thing where they're buying up whole communities and stuff like that. But yeah, who knows?
I often wish that there could be, like in my mind, I'm like, okay, what's the solution? And I like this idea of like these really affordable houses with either HOA or deed restrictions saying you just can't have investors. I just think how cute would those communities be if they were entirely owner occupied, but they were still really affordable.
Do we need cute communities?
Cute is nice. There is a real market for cute. Okay. You can have these cute little cottagey type houses.
We need to add another place in there.
For cute. Okay. That was supposed to be one of the options. Oops. Okay. Let's check. There's one more. Okay. Here we go. Letting prices correct naturally.
I like that one a lot, but
yes,
I like to get rid of government intervention and things like that, but
yeah. And I know you and I have talked a lot about how just like get us to a neutral rate with the Fed and then leave the market alone and let it do what it needs to do. Yeah. So I think those are really good choices, guys. John Doe says D, restricting investors and foreign buyers.
Somebody above that.
Okay, let's see here now. Here we are. And NP is checking in. Hey, NP, lower mortgages and lower property taxes, both. Yeah.
Mortgage rates and property. Yeah, it's very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that
definitely makes it more affordable.
Yeah, I just think there's so much to be said of that. And I know with Texas,
something else might be more expensive, but it's hard to say. But yeah.
I know with Texas, there's always the heralding cry, of, well, we don't have state income tax, so it's okay for property taxes to be so high. But I still think, you just got to do other ways, right?
Yeah.
Fiscal responsibility.
That would be nice.
Yes. Wouldn't that be? Can I get an amen? Fiscal responsibility. The solution is not always to raise the taxes.
Actually, that just means really there should be more. I tell a lot of buyers this. Okay, yes, you can go dispute your property taxes, and I think I highly recommend it. So, but if you really, really want to deal with your property taxes, you need to go get to know the different entities that you're paying property taxes to, and go find out what their budgets are, get involved, figure out what they're spending on, and help them and be more vocal about what they're spending on. So
yeah. Okay, just as an example, this year, kind of just watching on Facebook, there was this talk about one of the cities getting pay raises to the teachers. And there was this one school board member who was very vocal about, well, they had just voted on a bond election to give the teachers pay raises. And, this person called out somebody who voted against it. And was like, well, thanks a lot, so-and-so. Now our teachers can't get pay raises. Right. So then a month later, I see on there that all the teachers got pay raises. It's just that idea that you don't have to have a bond election to do it. Yeah. They just have to look at their budget a little closer.
Well, sometimes if you look at those, they already have they were already promised the pay raises and they didn't go to them. So you have to see what they're actually spending on.
Yeah. I think that has so much. So just really kind of touching on this idea of the lower property taxes and fees here.
Yeah.
Just that fiscal responsibility. Yeah. Let's see what else. What does Purple Drink have to say? Well, I really think it's more an affordability issue than a supply issue. I think so too. Like you can build all the houses in the world, and Dallas has a ton of them in our exurbs. And if they're not affordable to the general public, if there's a misalignment to our median sales price and our median home price, what are we going to do? So fun fact. I was reading an article in the Dallas Morning News, how they are putting up these super cheap houses in Princeton. They're only like, oh my goodness, they look so cheap, but they're going for like $160,000 and they're in Princeton, but they're built by Lennar. And they're only like 700 square foot.
Those little guys. Yeah. Yeah. 600 something square foot. Yeah.
Yeah. These teeny tiny houses.
20 foot lot homes or something like that. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy, guys? So they're like trying to put together this affordable housing, but it's Lennar. Lennar sells like crazy to
really
investors.
Dinky small homes,
yeah,
stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, they're all stacked on top of each other.
That's what you like. I mean, that can work. I just don't think you should do it. Allow that everywhere, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're going to do that, put some restrictions on there and don't let them go to investors, okay? Because otherwise you're just going to have this entire community of being owned by corporate, corporate owners, either foreign or, whatever. And they just, that it's so impersonal that they don't maintain them well. My little 2 cents worth there. And I can tell you, we own rentals, okay? So we're not, they serve a purpose. I think it's more just when the entire community becomes overtaken by them, that, and when you have a builder like Lennar who sells massive amounts of the community, to the investors. So Purple Dog, I agree with you. It's more affordability than supply, but at the same time, I think we got to make sure the affordability goes to the right people. Okay. Hello. How are we going to pronounce his name? Zioli Peng. Well, hello. And thank you for chiming in. If my budget is only $350,000 for an investment property, would you recommend buying a new construction home from a builder? The rental market seems quite sluggish right now. The combination of the new construction and market rents does not do well for is not real conducive for a cash flowing property right now. So I would say,
I'm trying to think of maybe like the one place that she was mentioning from Lennar, and might be one place you find it under 350.
They're listed at like 180.
Most, I'm not finding a lot of homes at that price level or lower. So I mean, there's a few places, not new construction.
Well, I mean, think about there are some just all over the Metroplex. You want to be in a community. If you're going to buy an investment property, don't buy in an all rental community. Rentals serve a purpose, but we don't want them concentrated in entire communities. Let's sprinkle them out.
Because it hurts the investors that are there too.
So would you recommend buying a new construction home from a builder? Only if it's going to cash flow for you. And I don't know what your budget is in terms of your down payment, your leverage, what that mortgage payment's going to be. I have heard people say, well, just go ahead and buy it in order to buy it, even if it doesn't cash flow. I really would not recommend that. I really wouldn't, because when you look at that, you don't even think about all the other costs that come into it.
Yeah.
Your vacancy costs.
That used to be a thing that, and our early learnings and investment properties and stuff, that was a thing. And it actually kind of made sense. I mean, you could buy a property and it may not cash flow right away, but it would eventually. But equity comes a little bit harder now, a lot of places. You really have to look at.
I just think it's dangerous thinking.
What's going on in that neighborhood? So
I think it's just dangerous thinking to buy into a property that doesn't cash flow. I would just really check that cash flow. E is a good one too. Yeah, letting prices correct naturally. Yes, I absolutely agree too. And really what we're talking about tonight with, the president declaring a housing emergency is how much are they going to intervene here? Are they going to cause more damage by jumping in when, we just need this market to kind of correct itself? Now, I haven't really hid the fact that I'd like to get rates down a little bit. I want them to get down to a neutral environment to where they're not restrictive, nor are they accommodative. That's kind of where I think in terms. And actually, guys, we're close. We are really close. We are really, really close. We have seen rates drop so much. It's been really interesting. I have that kind of something I was going to talk about a little bit later too, but boy, rates have come down a lot. I was running the math today and letting our agents know based on 7%. Okay. And then like where we're at right now, which for FHA is down well below 6. There's like a difference between like $300 to $350 a month in the monthly payment right now from how much rates have dropped. So it is very interesting. And I'm kind of like, let's not go too far, but let's just get this thing non-restrictive and let the housing market correct itself. So, all right, let's see what Charity here has to say.
Hi, Charity.
Hey, Charity. I think it's more than all of those. It's lower home prices mixed with lower property taxes and insurance rates.
No, I was kind of, it's a mix, definitely.
Yeah, no, I completely agree too. And Charity, what's interesting is like, Texas, the state of Texas, you got your insurance regulation. Whenever insurance asks to raise their prices, the state always says yes. And so we don't have like any kind of real control. But the offset of that is that people don't get their policies canceled very often.
Yeah.
The rate, because they're allowed to raise rates, so it is kind of a trade-off. All right, let's see what John Doe has to say here. The U.S. is currently housing millions of undocumented immigrants. I know that there's a lot about that. Boy, is that in the mainstream right now. Very, very much. People feel very seriously about that. Chris, hey, Chris. Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all.
What pitfalls should you watch out for when considering buying a single-family home that's been rented out for 10 or so years? So,
maintenance.
Yeah. Just any kind of deferred maintenance.
That's the main thing.
If you think about it, a lot of times people that are renting properties, maybe they don't change out the air conditioner filter like they should, things of that nature that will ultimately cause the AC unit.
How well it was managed over those 10 years. And you can tell pretty fast and looking at it, and then also having an inspection done so that good inspectors can give you a lot of details on that. So
yeah, we have a buyer right now who actually is doing a new build, and he hired multiple inspectors just to get overlapping different viewpoints. And I think that's great. I think, the more you can get on that path and the more you can hear from those inspectors, I think that's an excellent thing. Just finished doing a builder review video on Ashton Woods, I believe it is, who has just really thickly layered inspection restrictions. And I think that's so hard when you have that, because you really want to be able to inspect that house. So I never a fan when I see that. But Chris, howdy to you too. I'm just gonna have to. Do we assume that Chris is a Texan? He is saying y'all. Howdy, y'all. I don't know.
Definitely from the South.
Yeah, you from the South, Chris. We're interested to know. So it sounds like, okay, if we were to take, I'm not even sure, you guys, that you gave us a consensus. Not enough of you chimed in.
They're saying all of them.
Yeah, I think everybody's. Yeah, I think that seems to be. I'm surprised that I kind of thought more people would say lower mortgage rates. I kind of did. But more homes being built. It's got to be more affordable homes.
That's
for
Chris
sure.
Oliver.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, maybe I should say.
Okay. Hey, Chris, I'm y'all's client. Okay, Chris. You know what? Speaking of which, we had some other clients watching last week too. So if you're a client, just pop on with a little hand wave so we know, we can say hi. Well, thank you. And good to see you, Chris. Hope it's going well so far. I hope it really is. I've been watching the text going back and forth, and it looks like you guys are making progress on the homes, kind of revising down, filtering down, which is, that's always Texas. When you go to buy, filtering is a big part of the process, because it's just information overload. So
Unless yeah.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at this article that we've got about how we are going to see a national housing emergency declared. Okay. President Trump's Treasury chief floats declaring national housing emergency. And guys, again, while we are reading this, please absolutely leave your questions in the chat. You are more than welcome to. We'd love to answer any questions that you have. Let's see here now. Okay, where were we? Leave your questions in the chat. Okay, the cost of housing. Okay, we're going to see no truer words are spoken here. The cost of housing in the U.S. has become one of the most pressing issues in American life. Home prices remain at or near record highs. Mortgage rates are still elevated, but they are coming down. And construction costs have stubbornly resisted coming down. That's probably true as well.
This was done a week ago.
This was done a week ago. Yeah. And you guys, you would be surprised how much mortgage rates have gone down in a week.
Yeah.
I was gonna, and I know keep saying we're going to talk about this, but if you are under contract and you had already kind of settled with a loan estimate and everything, I would suggest go ahead and talk to the lender again.
Just ask them.
Ask them, because I'm telling you, rates are very volatile right now and they're coming down. So I would for sure say, hey, can we get a little bit of a better rate? Also, I anticipate, I need to we'll get into it. Lots to talk about with the rates though. I know. Okay. All right. Let's get back to where we were though. Okay. The cost of housing, let's see here. At the same time, supply has risen, but remains tight in many areas, with builders struggling to keep up and buyers locked out of the market. When it talks about, supply being tight, it's really not necessarily a Dallas thing. Dallas has more of an excess, but again, affordability becomes more the issue. So it's not about supply, it's about affordable supply. Okay, that's where you got your distinction there. Against this backdrop, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent dropped a bombshell. The Trump administration may declare a national housing emergency this fall. All right. It's a striking phase, one usually reserved for wars, pandemics, or national disasters. But Bessent framed the affordability crisis as an all-hands-on-deck moment, one that demands sweeping executive action to bring relief. So when they say that, like natural disasters, that kind of sounds like what you hear about when there's like a tornado. They've declared a national disaster, or, a national emergency, and it allows like federal funds. That's just real interesting, the wording that they use there, like how serious, are they being here? Okay, let's see what we have here. Where were we? Okay, for the administration, housing isn't just an economic headache. It's a political flashpoint. That's probably true. Midterm elections coming along. White House wants to show voters it's moving aggressively to address what polls consistently rank as a top kitchen table concern. And I think it is. But what would a housing emergency actually mean in practice? Okay. And who would benefit most? Okay. And I think that's a really good question. Is we hear this, President Trump is really good about like signing executive orders, signing orders. So I think that I read that he's signed like 200 by now. So is this going to make any bigger of a difference, or is it going to be kind of similar to, signing an executive order? That was my first thought when I read this. I was like, okay, how much of a difference? Okay. Bessent outlined several policy levers under consideration, some technical, others sweeping. Together, they suggest a strategy aimed at both lowering costs for builders and reshaping the housing finance system. Okay. Permitting and zoning reform. Ooh, you and I feel strongly about this one. We are not fans.
It'd be nice to open up. I think there should be some better open permitting. There are some cities that are pretty strict about permitting. And it takes forever to get things going, or they're just really slow about it. But zoning, definitely. There are definitely some push here to remove the limit on the size of lots for houses and stuff like that. And I think that's in some areas, I think that may be okay, a few, but across everywhere, I think you're just asking for a mess. And so.
I included that in a recent video, how Texas actually did pass the legislation. They took away the neighborhood's voice. Now, instead of 20% of neighbors being able to collectively block a developer, it takes 60%, right? Like you've got to get the entire neighborhood. 60% of them have to sign a petition and actively engage, whereas it used to be 20%.
You could end up ruining some neighborhoods.
And anytime I think about that, I think about there are some neighborhoods that I have seen that happen, that where the neighborhood was just surrounded by, completely different element on really small lots. So this one, not a huge fan. I mean, I hear what you're saying. Permitting and zoning reform. One of the most ambitious ideas is to create a national framework to streamline residential permitting. Local zoning rules often make it difficult to build multifamily projects or slow down new housing developments for years. So I guess this is really more about the permitting process, whereas what I was thinking of was more the zoning.
Well, it is a zoning too, because there's places where you are not allowed to build multifamily and stuff. And in some places it should be that way. In some places, then it's okay to build it. But I think if you just make it sweeping across, then you're asking for a lot of trouble. And
it's like we don't even need the national government to do that. Texas just did it all on its own, man. The changes they recently passed are like, for example, they cannot, the city cannot veto 3-story houses now. Like if somebody wants to do a townhome with 3 stories in your backyard, okay, the city can't deny that. So they just did a lot of things like that they're aiming at the solution. And I definitely acknowledge it's a problem. Just not a huge fan
Just
of
needs
those
to be
kinds.
just to be figured out where it makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so too. Yeah, for sure. Okay. A federal override could reduce red tape, speed up approvals, and allow more density. But the risks clashing with state and municipal governments that have long guarded their zoning authority. This risks clashing. Okay. Yeah. Tariff relief. Okay, I'm not necessarily opposed to this one. I think this is very interesting. Building materials like steel, aluminum, and lumber have been subject to Trump's tariffs, adding to the cost of every home built in America. Bessent suggested exemptions could be made specifically for housing-related imports.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You'd be surprised not as much of that comes from other overseas and stuff. A lot of that, but the steel is a lot because the steel market got pushed. But I think you have to be careful with that one too, where that goes. I mean, where you send, because you're going to have, if you remove that, then you're going to have it just going back to all the, other countries and stuff like that. Then the price is going to go up regardless anyway. And you don't have any control of that. And then you lose jobs here and stuff. So it's, yeah.
That's true too.
Yeah.
The whole job factor. That's a great point. All right, let's see here now. In theory, this would lower input costs, revive stalled projects, and encourage new construction. In practice, it's politically delicate. The administration would be carving out exceptions to one of its signature economic policies. So that's very good point. Very good point. Let's see here. Okay, this one's interesting. Reform of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. I know you were just talking about this one. The government-sponsored enterprises have been under federal conservatorship since the 2008 crisis. Bessent floated the possibility of monetizing or privatizing the GSEs as part of the affordability push.
So
that could generate capital for the government and potentially expand mortgage access.
And
what do you think?
It could possibly. The problem I see possibly right up is that for 17 years, they've been more government ran, and that's a completely different style of management and such. They haven't been privatized. If you privatize them, to suddenly, I think they would struggle to compete in the mortgage. It's already super competitive anyway in the mortgage arena. So I think there's. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how to fix that, but yeah, I think that
if you guys
in the long run, it might be. I'm all about getting things out of the government and let it run more from a competitive standpoint, privatize. But right away, I just think that they would not be able to compete. So because they're not going to be very efficiently run. Now, if anybody require a completely different type of management.
So if you have anybody viewing out here who doesn't know what those are, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, how would you explain what GSEs are? Like, what is their purpose? And I know the answer because I just did a video about it. Okay. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they exist to bring liquidity to the market. Okay. Yeah. So if I ask the bank for $500,000 loan and they give me a $500,000 loan, now the bank doesn't have $500,000 anymore. Yeah. Okay. So they're going to run out of money real quick to give mortgages. Well, the GSEs exist to ensure liquidity, to establish a secondary market.
Government funds back. So the government is backing them with funds. So
yeah, and they're taking, that basically it sets it up to where that lender can sell that $500,000 that mortgage and get their money back.
Right.
And that constantly brings back in that liquidity so they can make more mortgage loans. So that kind of, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's been in conservatorship. It first went
17 years.
Yeah. It's hard to believe it's been that long since the meltdown. All right. Federal coordination and land use. Okay, guys, I'm going to be honest. This one helps us the least. Declaring a formal emergency could give the administration broad authority to direct federal agencies. Well, okay, maybe no, this isn't what I was thinking. It's the federal land that I was thinking, to direct federal agencies to accelerate housing initiatives. Okay, that's not what I was thinking it was. It is the declaring of the federal land that I think really doesn't help Dallas, because we just don't have that much federal land in our area. And so when they talk about like freeing that up to build on, that's the part I'm like, that doesn't really help Dallas very much. All right. Okay. Well, there you go. This could include releasing federal land for development. Okay. And that's the part I'm saying in Dallas, not so much. Doesn't help much. Fast tracking Department of Housing and Urban Development or Federal Housing Administration programs, or temporarily suspending regulations that slow down new construction. Wouldn't that be interesting if they could step in and temporarily suspend regulations?
If they could reduce some of the regulations on both mortgage and some of that building, I think that could be very helpful. So it's made it a lot more expensive on the mortgage loan area and in the building area. So yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about that as well. Okay, let's see here now. Taken together, these measures suggest a shock and awe approach, lowering costs for builders, pushing more supply into the market, and recalibrating the mortgage system in a bid to restore affordability. All right. Who gains? Who gets squeezed? If enacted, these measures have the potential to reshape the housing landscape. Some groups would stand to gain significantly, while others could face new challenges. All right. This is what I was thinking too. Builders and developers, okay, they win right off the bat. I mean, they immediately have this huge benefit because of the lower tariffs.
As long as there's enough buyers to buy them. But yeah, true.
That is true. Okay, so the clearest winners: lower tariffs mean cheaper projects and faster permitting, could accelerate timelines and boost profits. Okay. All right, so our builders are hurting. That would help. Homebuyers and borrowers, potential beneficiaries over time. More supply and GSE reform could translate into lower mortgage costs and improved access through relief, though relief wouldn't be immediate and wouldn't necessarily be a guarantee. So when I think about GSE reforms, okay, one thing that comes to mind is what I think would be cool would be if, first-time homeowners could qualify for a lower mortgage rate. That kind of come under the governorship of the GSEs, because they're kind of stating the GSEs create rules that make mortgages sellable. And if the mortgages don't comply with those rules, okay, then the mortgages can't be sold, right? And so that's kind of a thing that I'm just that would be really interesting to let our first-time home buyers be able to automatically qualify for even lower mortgage rates. I mean, I think that's a very interesting thing. Okay, let's see, where were we? Okay. Local governments, potential losers in the power struggle, federal intrusion into zoning risks, lawsuits, and political blowback from municipalities and community groups. I think there's something to be said about community groups.
I think
the community should have a voice.
Still going to have to be, definitely some input from local entities. So
I mean, I just finished a video on our luxury markets here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and let's just say you have these luxury communities, for example, Westlake or Southlake, and suddenly the federal government tries to come in and override the city statutes, right? I mean, that would be
because you can't. In Southlake there are no multifamily homes, and it's built that way. It should be that way. They did that on purpose. But they also were smart about how they brought in company headquarters and things like that to help pay for things and stuff. And it's built that way. So
we have some very,
there's nothing wrong with that from that standpoint. You find other neighborhoods and stuff. So
we have some very specific cities that have their own sets of rules, and especially these affluent cities. So I can't even imagine, the federal government trying to step in and tell these cities what needs to go in their cities. Ooh, that would not be pretty. People would not be happy. Okay, let's see here now. Immediate timeline for relief. Immediate. Builders feel tariff relief quickly, and markets react to the possibility of GSE reform. Home buyers and renters, however, see little change at first. Medium term, 6 to 18 months. If permitting reforms take hold, new projects begin to break ground. Lenders benefit from increased volume. Buyers may get better mortgage access as financial markets stabilize. And I think that is key there. Long term, 2+ years, new housing stock starts to come online, easing affordability pressures more broadly. Renters benefit from slower rent growth. Home buyers see the biggest relief as supply expands and prices stabilize. So, again, I think, that's not really a super integral to Dallas, because Dallas, we've got the supply. It's just not affordable,
Well, but yeah, if you had more affordable, if it helped to have more affordable supply, yeah, maybe so. But,
yeah. I mean, to the extent, but think about what you're getting with affordable supply in Dallas right now. Just drive out to Princeton and look at what Lennar is building for $180,000. That's what they call affordable. I mean, it's like, we need a better solution than that, because those things look like little shacks. I was less than impressed. I'll just put it that way. Okay. All right. For all the potential upside, the housing emergency plan carries some serious risks. Legal challenges. Yeah, I think so. States and cities may sue to block federal encroachment on zoning and delaying reforms. Absolutely. I think so. I mean, you've got cities, like I said, like Westlake, Southlake, that are like, no, you're not putting that in my city. So I think you'd have a lot.
And Highland Park, University Park, Lime Street, all those areas. So, yeah,
think about all those that are very architecturally unique. That would just
districts and stuff.
They would not stand for that. Okay, overbuilding and infrastructure strain. I think this is huge. And I think we see this in Dallas constantly. A rapid construction surge without parallel investment in transit, schools, and utilities could create new bottlenecks. Now, that is not a what if. That is a reality. I'm telling you.
Look at 380.
Yes, look at 380. And in Forney.
Justin.
Yeah. And how about Forney? Oh my goodness, Forney has it. So that is that's not a what if, okay, in Dallas, because I mean, I can see like maybe the Northeast or places that don't have all the new construction, but in Dallas, those things are very real right now. You have to have a community that plans. I know that at some point along the way, Princeton actually stopped all new construction because they realized how far backed up they were with their infrastructure. But from what I read about Lennar, it sounds like maybe they're opening back up again.
They knew somebody.
Yeah, maybe so. Okay, urgency meets uncertainty. Declaring a national housing emergency would mark one of the most dramatic interventions in the housing market in decades. It would send a clear message that affordability is now a top-tier national priority and that the administration is willing to bend traditional rules to address it. For now, Besant's warning sets the stage for a high-stakes fall. And I think they mean the season there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
The question is not just whether the administration will declare a housing emergency, but whether it can turn emergency powers into lasting affordability gains for millions of Americans. Yeah, is this a political maneuver, or can it really make authentic changes? I mean, I think that that's a very fair question. Absolutely. All right, let's catch up on a few comments here. Hi, Marianne. Thank you guys for all your great info. You're welcome. I'm glad you joined us tonight. We really enjoy, it's one of our favorite topics. That's the cool thing about husband and wife both being in real estate. You never run out of things to talk about. Sometimes the teenager that you still have at home gets real tired of it. Okay, I'm just telling you, he's like, y'all are talking about real estate again. But yeah, all right, let's see here now. Hey, Chris, let's say rates get down to 5.5 in the spring in time for the buying season. Do y'all think we'll see another hyperinflationary housing market like 2021 to 2022?
Possible. I mean, I guess there's some other things that affect affordability as well, but it's if you're
Let's go ahead and take a look. While you're asking about that, Chris, I want to show you. Actually, I want to show you this. Okay, I want to show you where rates are right now. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this, because it's interesting that you said, let's say rates get down to 5.5. This is the FHA right here, and you can see right here, they're at 5.94 FHA right now. So we are literally below 6%. That is how much we've seen rates. See, we were up here, 6.5. Now we're down to this 5.98. So, and then conventional, a little bit of a different ball game. We can look at conventional, and you can see we started up here at this, we had 7.26 in January. Okay. And then we've come all the way down here now down to where we're at 6.28. And so this is what we're looking at if we don't have any points paid. Okay. So literally you can very easily have a seller pay points right now, and you will be down at 5.5. That's just when I say rates have come down, it's been pretty dramatic what rates are doing right now. So that just kind of made me think about that. And I was going to show. Let me go ahead and show this as well. These are today's rates. The 30-year fixed. You got your 15-year, your 30-year jumbo. Over here, you've got your 30-year FHA.
I thought the 30-year fix was at 6.1 something.
That is what our preferred lender's offering. Okay. And so our preferred lender quoted way lower than this today.
Okay, that's the average.
Yeah, this is the average. Our preferred lender today was telling us that he could do 6.1. Yeah. Okay. And so, Chris, believe it or not,
it does. Every mortgage company has their own investors and stuff. It does depend on the investors.
Yeah. In fact, and you're right, because in fact, today our preferred lender, Caleb, was quoting 5.6 for FHA. Yeah. Okay. 5.6. So like when you say, let's say rates get down to 5.5, when I saw that, my first thought was we're already there. Like it's just has changed that quickly to where, our buyers that were, looking at 7%, they can now get a house for the same price, saving $300 a month. Yeah. Okay. So picture what we would anticipate that doing to the housing market. Yep. Okay. Because we're there. This just kind of has just happened. A big part of it I was reading today, and I think it was something else that our preferred lender sent us, was they had this jobs revision.
Right. I saw that.
Yeah.
By 911,000, something like that. Since
March.
It
was March. Yeah, I had to think for a minute. Yeah. So they released today a job revision of 900,000 less jobs than what they were quoting since March.
So it was already, which we all kind of knew this. Well,
I think we all suspected. Yeah, we had a feeling. We're just like, what?
Yeah, it was, but so it was pretty bad. So, pretty bad. It's not pretty bad. It was just lower than what it ended up to be.
Yeah. So literally rates today at 0.62 versus the 7% we were paying, you can save $360 a month. Okay, on the exact same house. Okay, so buying a $400,000 house, it cost you $360 more a month last month than it did this month. I mean, that's crazy. And it's because of these jobs reports and whatnot. So, and also, and I know you talk about this a lot. The market is reacting before the Fed moves.
Yeah, that's it. Almost always.
It's all about sending a message. Yeah, it's about sending a message, and so the Fed has sent a message.
They build in what they think it will be. So when they do drop the rates, it may not come down anymore. It may just be steady. It's probably not going to go back up, but you never know. It depends on what investors do. So, and like they go more, if it's more toward the stock market, more towards treasury bonds, those kind of things. So but with there is the idea that the economy is not as great as they thought it was because of the jobs market and things. So that that'll most likely keep it lower.
Yeah. In fact, let me show you guys this, because it's just really interesting to see how we are playing into exactly what happened last year. Okay. Yeah. So if you look at this is from, this is like the last several years. This shows January and June. Okay. And you can see our seasonal path that we always take, right? Except for, last year. And the funny thing is, this is exactly what rates did last year too. When the rates went down, we saw this really weird pop. Typically, you just go down. That's it. Just from June to January, that's what we see. But then last year, rates drop out and we get that little weird arc. I was quite puzzled by it all, because it's not supposed to happen. This is violating seasonality. And you can see here too, like with where we're at in June right now, and we've already begun that descent. But I just kind of feel like with the aggressive rate movement we've seen, are we going to be seeing this happen all over again
in October or something, maybe?
And it's really bizarre that the same thing has happened, that it played out this way last year, and we have completely different circumstances, but we saw the same thing play out last year, where mortgage rates, if you kind of look right here are our rates in July, right? And then look at how they bottomed out. And so at the very bottom, we were at like 5.6, which is oddly where we're already at right now for FHA. Well, not according to this though, just according to our preferred lender, Caleb. He was quoting that lower.
That's the average.
Yeah. And so it's just interesting that we came down as much as we did last year. That's what caused that little blip that we saw. And now we're kind of repeating history. And yet it's like a completely different landscape. It's like we're repeating history, but the landscape is not the same at all, because this year we've got tariffs and we've got jobs issue, more job issues. Whereas last year we
had the jobs issue last year. They just weren't reporting it.
Very true. And also last year we had a presidential election. So that was kind of weird. So the years are not the same, but it's interesting that the pattern seems to kind of be falling the way. So Chris, I guess in answer to your question, we're going to see this because the rates have already come down. All right, let's see what we have here. Hello, Wendy and Dale. Well, hey, Isaac. How are you? It's good to see you. Good to hear you. Good to see you saying hi. That's what I like. That doesn't make sense. Mundy. Hi, Mundy. Making an offer at Barlow Avenue. I know exactly where that is. Offered $305 and requested $9,000 rate buy down, which would put it at a 5.8% rate. That's excellent. Make sure that you are getting the best rate you can, because if they quoted you that last week,
might be a little bit more. Yeah, you
might be able to get it lower. That's how the kind of rate movement that we're seeing. I feel like we kind of have a sweet spot where the market doesn't know yet.
All right. Yeah.
That buyers that kind of enter now are not going to be in that competitive mode. But I think we're going to build up momentum like we did with prices last year.
Like this,
if the rates stay down, we're going to build up momentum. We're going to start to see prices go up. This is great for our sellers. For all of our listings that we have. I am excited for them. I think it's just, we're gonna have to be patient. It's not going to be overnight. This, like we saw here, it takes time. The way we saw this kind of go up like this, it took time for it to do that. And so it's kind of like the, giant machine that has to slowly start moving, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, Mendy. Could you see if that's a value, please? Monday, I would need to know so much more than that. Why don't you reach out to us with a questionnaire. Now, if you've already got a realtor, though, have that realtor do their job and give you that information, okay? Because if you've already got a realtor helping you with that, they're the ones that need to be doing that. And guys, we need to raise the bar, okay? We need to stop letting these lazy realtors.
Do a market analysis for you.
We need to stop letting these lazy realtors get away with being lazy. They need to do their job. So if you already have a realtor, they need to do that. But otherwise, fill us out, reach out to us with our questionnaire, and we can definitely look into that. Let's see. Or do you think I could possibly get a better deal in Q1? It's really over what I want to pay monthly, around $2,400 to $2,500. I always tell, Monday, let me just grab a few more here. Okay, my loan officer just said rates jumped by 20 BP today. That's interesting that he said that, because we got the email from our preferred lender and he's quoting like 5.6 for FHA. So we can send you his contact information if you'd like. I think there was a little bit of volatility, and there's a little bit every day. Yeah. But overall, we're still seeing pretty good. Pretty good drop there. Okay. Hi, Wendy. Your view on MI Homes versus Taylor Morrison versus Normandy new construction.
Normandy's way better
all
than
day
all
long. Yeah. I was like, this is not a trick question at all. That's an easy one.
I'd probably say Taylor Morrison's better than MI as well. I've seen some nice MI homes, but their finishes are not going to be as nice as Taylor Morrison's. They're not even going to be close to Normandy's. Normandy's finishes and quality is much better.
To the extent that Normandy's going to be more expensive, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a better home.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about MI is they do have an upper level, and it's a little unpredictable. Like you've got to really be paying attention, because they have a very low base level product. And then with their higher levels, sometimes they're just confusing and they're inconsistent. So you really have to look. So, so our view on that would be Normandy all day long. Let's see here now. One last question. What do you think is going to happen with FHA loans when Biden's regulations are halted for them October 1? Or is that fake news? I think I saw something about that.
I don't remember.
That is a good question. We need to look into that. because I saw that kind of pop up on my feed, and I was like, "Why is Biden coming up?" Like I was like, "Why is this coming up?"
Well, there's
but that makes
stuff,
sense.
Yeah, that was out there. But,
Chris, we'll have to get back to you on that one. We're going to have to do some review. FHA loans with Biden's regulations are halted for October 1. Okay, Dale is looking that up right now. All right, you guys. Okay, let me take a look here. And we have some more of let's take a look at this next article here. Good stuff, because there's more in here that I want to talk about. This is another article about Trump declaring the national housing emergency. This one's by Realtor.com. And some of this is similar. It's talking about, the struggle to afford housing. Any federal attempt will have to face the harsh reality that most of the key policies, that influence housing supply are set at the local level. Again, we would have cities really mad. It remains unclear. I think this is a good point. It's like, what good can they really do? Like, it remains unclear what kind of emergency measures the administration could take to address housing. And I think it's kind of untested. The best way, however, senior economist Joel Berner says the best way the administration could make an impact are by encouraging the building and purchase of homes. Again, let's insert the word affordable, okay? Affordable homes. Somehow or another, we've got to get that to line up. This is not just about building homes if people can't afford them. Okay, let's see. Berner suggests that finding ways to streamlining the permitting process for home builders. Okay, we already read about that. Okay, here we go. This would have the best long-term impact, but the federal government can also juice the housing market in the short run by making it easier to buy a home. Okay, this could include offering a tax credit to offset closing costs. A similar tax credit was offered, yes, I remember this, to first-time home buyers during the Obama administration in 2008. We actually helped several buyers enter the market at that time. That was a beautiful tax credit. Yeah, and I would love it to see that come back. I think that's great. The National Association of Realtors says it is in close contact with the White House and engaged in ongoing discussions on practical solutions. If an emergency is declared, NAR stands ready to work closely with the administration. I like the idea. What do you think of like a tax credit? However, during the Obama administration, it had to go through Congress, power of taxation. So I don't, the way that was structured. Now, did you find an answer for Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it would take a little bit more into it because there's multiple things. A lot of it had to do with, and Biden did a lot of this. They added a lot of government, basically putting money into the economy kind of thing. Basically, and this is more specific to the House relief. It's like the COVID-19 relief options, the payment supplement programs, the loss mitigation frequencies and stuff like that. That just it helps some buyers immediately on some things, but what that has always done is that it increases the cost over time because, and it makes it can, if it's real widespread, it can actually increase inflation because anytime you put government funds into, because there's nothing to offset it. I just think it's gonna reduce. It's probably, there's gonna be some people that won't be able to get the loans as easily as they were before. I think things like that. And maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. I mean, it depends on. You don't want just anybody getting loans, but at the same time, you want it. I think it would be better, like you were saying, if there was more things for first-time home buyers that actually can be qualified, and that would be very helpful.
That's a very good point.
There's a lot more detail on this, so it would take a lot more time to go through all that. But that's
good deal.
So yeah.
And by the way, Chris is one of our clients. He's working with one of our agents, Maria. And Maria is excellent. One of our excellent agents. Honestly, all of our agents are excellent.
Of course they are.
They really are. We've got just a great group of agents in our brokerage. All right, Sam, Wendy, are you saying MI homes are inconsistent? Lower end, not good. Did not get that quite. Yes, I am.
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I have looked at MI homes that I'm just like, oh, this is so cheaply built.
I've even seen the inconsistency within the same neighborhood. So yeah.
Yes, yeah. So no, we helped.
There have been some nice ones, but in the same neighborhood there were some.
Especially, I remember.
Ones too,
I remember back when Antares existed. I was comparing Antares to Bloomfield to MI homes, and I was just like, man, there is no competition here. Bloomfield was so much better than all of them. Okay. Isaac, hello, Wendy. Frank has been terrific so far. Yes, Frank is another one of our agents. Guys, he is outstanding. I hope Frank and Maria are both watching so they can know how great they are. I can't wait for the mortgage rates to come way down. Yes. You know what? Honestly, Isaac, right now, I would just have the seller pay it down and you can literally be getting in the 4s. So I would,
in general, that's right now for both sellers and buyers, the better. Instead of lowering prices so much, work on concessions. Yeah.
I think that it's going to be interesting with the rates coming down the way they are. Like working with Maria so far, kudos. I'm so glad to hear that. That just makes my day. Yeah. Like I see you guys as your texts go back and forth, and it really does seem like you guys are making progress on the search. So it's one thing that we're very big on in our brokerage is that we really want to partner with you in the search.
It's a team thing, and
this is very much
in
a
the
team
back
thing.
end. We help each other a lot. So.
It's really important to us that we work with you on that back end to help you see everything that's out there. Okay, let me see. There was something else I was going to show you guys. Let me just do this real quickly, and then we are going to call it a night. Okay, so we talked about this. Let me go ahead and show you some stats real quick. Okay, let's see where we're at right now. Okay, our median sales price in the DFW area, guys, right now it's down 1.8%. And so we've talked about that. That is very much a big picture thing. So we're talking all the places that are exploding in growth as well as the places that are just crashing. Okay, our median in the middle of all of that is down 1.8%. Our active listings are up 12.9%. It's a little bit surprising, guys, to see listings going up this time of year.
True.
New listings, okay, but no, this makes more sense.
Oh, yeah.
This is more what we would expect.
Active listings.
Yes, active listings.
That just means that they were just all these listings hadn't sold. So
right. But now our new listings, this makes more sense with where we are in the market, which is down 3.4. That's really, not surprising. Pending sales are down 6.5%. Closed sales are down 2.2%. Okay. And days on market are up 25%. And so that covers the entire Metroplex. So you can see we still got a challenged market here. All of that talk about constrained supply and everything, it's not really a Dallas thing. Like we've got a lot of supply out there. Okay. Months of inventory, up 10.2%. So in the entire Metroplex as a whole, months of inventory is at 5.4. Okay, now we're going to go through these fairly quickly because I don't want to keep you guys too long. Denton County, look at that median sales price, down 9.4%. Okay. Active listings are up year over year, 27.4%, but down
for new
3.9%. And so that's interesting. Usually they would go down anyway, but they're even lower.
Yep.
Both over the overall as well as Denton County. Pending sales down 5.1%, closed sales down 3.5%. Days on market up 40.7%. Wow. So just really seeing, I just want to encourage our sellers, hang in there. The rates are coming down. Hopefully we're going to see some improvement here because I know we've got some discouraged sellers out there. All right. Let's see what we have here. Months of inventory up 23.7%. Okay, so that's our Denton County. If you're catching where we're at there, we've got our middle of the Metroplex here, and Denton County is up here on our northwest side, and now we're on our northeast side, okay, which is Collin County, and Collin County is our most densely populated. It's very popular. Okay, so let's see what we're seeing here. Median sales price down 7.6% in Collin County. Active listings are up 34.7%. New listings are up just a hair at 2.3%. Pending sales down 2.6%, and closed sales are actually up 3.5%. So a little snapshot on Collin County here. Days on market are up 24.2%. Guys, I remember when days on the market was like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So the fact they're on the market for 41 days, and our months of inventory are up to 5 months supply. Okay, so that's up 25%. Okay, so again, get your bearings here. We had Denton County here. Then we had Collin County here. Now we have Tarrant County. Okay. And so in here, even though we've got kind of this city flavor, we've still got plenty of new construction going on. All right, let's see what we got here. Median sales price is actually up. And we've been seeing that with Tarrant County. Tarrant County, especially in that northern side, has become more and more popular. Up 1.4%. Active listings up 4.3%. New listings down. Okay, 9.9%. So not as many people putting their houses out there. Pending sales are down 4.1%. And then closed sales are down 0.8%. Days on market up 29 at 16% increase. And let's see here, months of inventory up 5.3%. Okay, and that takes us to Dallas County. So again, Denton County, Collin County, Tarrant County, Dallas County. And right, this is our, like our original, right? Okay. Median sales price up 1.4%. Active listings, 14.3% increase. And then new listings are down. So I think we're noticing that our sellers are not really entering the market like they were.
Which is normal this time of the year.
Yeah, but it's even less than it was year over year.
True.
Pending sales down almost 10%. Down 9.5%. Closed sales down 7.7%. Days on the market up. I think every single one of them days on the market have been up. Okay, you've got plenty of time to look around. Don't let yourself be pressured as a buyer. Months of inventory is up 14.3%, almost 5 months in Dallas County. Okay, now we're going to slide to the east and slightly north, and this is Rockwall County. And comparatively speaking, Rockwall County is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Okay, so just know everything.
A lot more open land.
And a lot more open land. You can see that green right there. Okay, you've got a lot more open land there in Rockwall County. Okay. Median sales price is up 7.5%. Rockwall County, looking good. Active listings up 19.1% and new listings down. Okay, so when we're seeing that those new listings are down lower year over year, they would already drop. You would already expect that, but now they're down even more. Pending sales are down 4.7%. Closed sales, down 17.7%. Days on market are up 27.9%. And again, 55 days on the market. Man, that's crazy. I remember how short it used to be. All right, months of inventory. They are topping.
6.5.
Yeah, they're at 6.5 months, guys. Rockwall County. All right, now we're looking at Kaufman County. And if you've still got your bearings here, this was, Rockwall County. Over here, we had Collin County. Then we've got Tarrant, Dallas. And now we're talking about Kaufman. And you can see how much more green there is in Kaufman. But don't let that.
It's more dense than Rockwall.
Don't let that fool you, because the areas that are built in Kaufman County are very crowded. Just don't have as many of them. Okay, so median sales price up 2.3%. Our active listings are up by 9.2%. So they're kind of catching up here. New listings down 2%. Pending sales down 4.4%. Closed sales down 6.5%. Days on market up
53. That's
quite 53, 17.8%. And then our months of inventory up to almost 6 months. So we just got so much inventory, 7.4%. Okay, so now we have slid southward. Again, we got Tarrant County here, Dallas County here. Directly south, all right, is Ellis County. Okay, and Ellis County, I often refer to it as an undiscovered jewel. Okay, because it's got a lot of neat places there. Median sales price down 7% in Ellis County. Active listings are up 1.4%. So you can see Ellis County is stabilizing out. They're coming in like they're not having that high inventory. Okay. New listings, 0%.
Wow.
Okay.
Same.
Yep. Same. Pending sales down 9.1%. Closed sales down 3.4%. Days on the market up 7%. Months of inventory. Okay, 5.1 months, down 5.6%. All right, guys, that gives you the snapshot of what the market is doing. Now, if we follow the pattern of last year. We're going to see, you know what I'm saying, which it's a lot of different factors. Similarity of rates, similarity of rate movement, but a different year.
You may get a lot of purchases in October.
But yeah, and typically the fall is always our busiest time of the year anyway, because we actually it's our it's our personally our brokers, because we actually incredulously we encourage our buyers to wait. When we have a buyer that has a flexible time frame, we're just like, we can get better prices in the fall. But I do think it's going to be interesting. We're in for some activity, okay, because we've got these, you just can't have that much rate movement and not see the market, react in some way. So, all right, all hands on deck. So we're going to see what the market does, and we'll tell you guys. Yeah, we'll tell you next. It'll be interesting to check out what the rates have done by this time next week.
All right.
All right.
We'll come back and see. Yes.
All right. Well, we will see you guys a week from now. And until then, hey, listen, have a great week. All right. Bye.